You are older today than you think. Not in years, in erosion. Scientists now confirm that biological age can exceed chronological age by a full decade, driven not by genetics, but by daily habits. The invisible choices you repeat without thinking are rewriting your body at the cellular level. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which habits the Stoics identified as the silent destroyers of vitality, and the precise discipline they used to reverse the decay. 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth, while simultaneously waging war on 3 fronts, managing plague, betrayal, and the slow collapse of the civilization he had sworn to protect. He was not born Stoic. He was forged into one. His private journals, never meant to be published, reveal a man at constant war with his own corrosive tendencies that he recognized would consume him faster than any enemy army. Marcus lived during the Antonine Plague, which killed 5 million people across the empire. He buried friends, commanders, and sons. He watched men around him deteriorate, not just from disease, but from fear, excess, and mental collapse. This historical pressure cooker became his laboratory. He observed, with ruthless precision, what accelerated human decay, not just physical, but moral and psychological. His meditations became the first systematic study of self-inflicted aging. The first habit that ages you faster is chronic complaint. The Stoics called it one of the most insidious forms of mental poison. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Every act of complaint trains the nervous system toward helplessness. Modern neuroscience confirms that habitual complaining reshapes neural pathways, floods the body with cortisol, and accelerates cellular aging. You are not just wasting breath, you are biologically surrendering years of your life. The second destroyer is the absence of solitude. Marcus spent hours alone each morning before the empire demanded him. He called this practice the return to himself. Without silence, the mind never processes its wounds. It accumulates them. Unprocessed stress is not simply emotional. It manifests as inflammation, shortened telomeres, and accelerated organ deterioration. The man who cannot be alone with his thoughts is slowly dismantled by them. Noise is not comfort, it is concealment. The third habit is the compulsive consumption of what Epictetus called worthless impressions. Today, we call it mindless scrolling. Every image, every outrage, every manufactured crisis, absorbed without reflection, floods the nervous system with low-grade alarm. The Stoics practiced prosoche, radical attention to what enters the mind. They understood that the mind reflects what it feeds upon. Feed it chaos habitually, and the body follows. Disrupted sleep, elevated inflammation, accelerated neural aging. The fourth accelerant is the refusal to confront discomfort. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Comfort-seeking is seductive, precisely because it feels like self-preservation. But the body and mind atrophy without resistance. Avoiding cold, avoiding effort, avoiding conflict. Each avoidance sends a signal of fragility to the organism. The immune system weakens, muscle deteriorates. Willpower, which is biologically rooted in the prefrontal cortex, actually shrinks through prolonged non-use. The fifth habit is disordered sleep. Not just insufficient hours, but the corruption of sleep quality through anxiety and overstimulation. The Stoics ended each day with a review of conscience, an examination of actions taken and thoughts indulged. This was not guilt, it was calibration. Modern sleep science confirms that unresolved cognitive tension prevents deep restorative sleep. Without deep sleep, cellular repair collapses, growth hormone drops, cortisol remains elevated. The body ages in silence, nightly. The sixth accelerant is social toxicity, the relentless exposure to corrosive people. Marcus wrote, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are." He was surrounded by sycophants and senators who drained vitality through envy, manipulation, and endless noise. Modern research confirms social stress is one of the most powerful predictors of early biological aging. Your environment is not passive. It is formative. The seventh, and perhaps most devastating habit, is the absence of meaning. Viktor Frankl, centuries after the Stoics, confirmed what Marcus knew instinctively. A life without purpose collapses inward. When the organism perceives no reason to sustain itself, the biological systems reflect that verdict. Immune function declines. Motivation pathways atrophy. The Stoics called purpose your daimon, the sacred inner function you were designed to execute. Ignore it, and the body interprets that as an instruction to diminish. Now consider how these habits compound. Complaint feeds sleeplessness. Sleeplessness feeds toxic reactivity. Toxic reactivity destroys relationships. Destroyed relationships eliminate meaning. Absent meaning accelerates every biological marker of aging simultaneously. The Stoics understood this as a chain. They called it the corruption of the ruling faculty, the hegemonikon. When the governing mind is undisciplined, everything beneath it deteriorates in sequence. You do not age from one cause. You age from one undisciplined center. The antidote the Stoics prescribed was not complexity, it was daily practice. Marcus began each morning asking, "What essential work remains undone in me?" This question redirected attention from complaint to agency, from passive decay to active cultivation. Begin each day with this question, not as motivation, but as honest inventory. What pattern did I repeat yesterday that I know is consuming me? Name it plainly. The unnamed habit is the one with power over you. Build what Epictetus called a threshold practice. Before consuming anything, content, conversation, food, sensation, pause at the threshold and ask, does this restore me or erode me? This is not asceticism, it is discernment. The Stoics were not against pleasure, they were against unconscious consumption. The discipline of the threshold transforms passive aging into active stewardship of the self. Over months, this single practice reshapes habits at the neurological level because attention itself is the instrument of change. Restore solitude as sacred architecture in your day. Not empty time, structured silence. Marcus built his morning journals not as expression, but as confrontation. Write 3 sentences each morning identifying one habit from the previous day that diminished you, one moment where you acted from your highest faculty, and one commitment for the hours ahead. This is not journaling as therapy. It is journaling as the Stoics intended it, as the daily engineering of character against entropy.
In the winter of 17 AD, Marcus Aurelius sat in a military tent on the Danube frontier, surrounded by plague and war, and wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He was not expressing despair. He was administering medicine. The awareness of finitude clarified his present choices immediately. He rose from that tent and lived another decade with extraordinary discipline. The contemplation of aging is not surrender. It is the beginning of reversal.
Here is what the Stoics discovered, that most people will never be told. Aging is not primarily biological. It is philosophical. The body follows the quality of the governing mind. Complaint, avoidance, noise, purposelessness, these are not personality quirks. They are active instructions to the organism to accelerate its deterioration. The man who masters his habits does not merely live longer. He lives more densely, more deliberately, more fully. That is the discipline. That is the antidote. Begin it today.